Hello, my name is Sang Ho, and welcome to the first webinar of the MineMarket webinar series. Today, we're going to look at the equipment downtime management module, or as we often call it, just the equipment module. It is one of the modules within the MineMarket solution. Thank you for attending. From the list of participants that has been registered, I can recognize quite a few people whom I have had the privilege of meeting previously. But for those of who I haven't met, I trust that through this series of webinars, you will find the MineMarket solution to be a suitable solution for your organization in relation to supply chain management, material tracking, inventory, or stockpile management. The topics we are going to cover today include the following: how to set up your equipment hierarchy. I will show you an example of how a list of equipment has been set up for an organization called Diversify Mining. And then we move on to talk about the concept of time usage model. Now, every company is different in the way they want to capture delays and downtime. And this is determined by what kind of reporting or KPIs they want to get in terms of delay accounting. Hence, it is important to have a structured way to define your time usage through the time usage concept, which I'll discuss later. Having done these two steps, you need to define a list of so-called incident definitions. Okay. Each incident is identified by an ID or a code, so that by capturing these incidents as they happen via the incident recording function, you can then generate reports and KPIs on the equipment incident. Before we start though, for those who aren't an existing MineMarket user, what is MineMarket? MineMarket is a supply chain management system which tracks your mining materials from the ores that you extract and waste that you remove from underground or open pit to the ROM stockpile and through the processing plant to the sellable and finished product stockpiles. Then onward via the logistics functions, either via trains or trucks, or in the case in Indonesia, via barges. It tracks the transportation of products all the way to the port and onward to the ship and to the end user. Behind all these physical movements, MineMarket also offers a comprehensive sales and marketing function that captures the contracts that form the demand on the system for this movement, which includes sales contract, purchase contract, and freight contracts. Therefore, the term MineMarket, from your mine to the marketplace. Along the supply chain, a large number of equipment is being used to carry out the movement. From your mobile equipment, such as your trucks, your diggers, your front-end loaders, and excavators, to fixed plant, such as your conveyor belt, your stackers and reclaimers. So quite unavoidably, the equipment sometimes fails and causes delays in operation. So MineMarket's equipment module offers the functionality for a delay accounting system that is built into the solution itself that you may not be aware of or may not be using it to its full capacity. So hopefully after today's session, you'll be able to take home some ideas on how to put this capability or functionality into good use. Now, let's just briefly touch on the concept of time usage model. As you can see in this example here, we have the total time, which is represented by the yellow bar at the top. And we divide that into two components or two buckets of time. Available time, the green bit here, and the downtime. And furthermore, within each of these components, we subdivided that into a number of categories of time usage that we would like to allocate the time that a piece of equipment spends on in the course of the day. Also, as you can see, we associate with each category, we associate a code for the incident that we put into this category. All right. So that will help you in your recording and your reporting of your KPI. For example, any incident code that fall in the range of 100 to 199 refers to plant maintenance event, etc. But as the heading implies, this is just one example of the time usage model. You need to decide on a model that best captures your company's need in terms of delay accounting, downtime management, and we can help you with that. Next, during the session, I'll be using iHub as a means to capture a couple of incidents from a simulated system using Excel. iHub or Integration Hub is an integration platform that not just MineMarket, but a number of other data mine solutions uses to exchange data with third-party system. In this case, a downtime system or equipment operating systems. Of course, MineMarket offers a manual data entry user interface for you to enter the delays or downtimes directly. But if you have a system that can send messages directly to MineMarket via iHub, then it would be much simpler. Yeah. Okay. Let's start the process by going through the agenda that we have discussed so far. So I'll leave the PowerPoint at this stage and switch to MineMarket, the application. So this is MineMarket. As you can see, the demo environment that we set up today, we're using today, is an example of a base metal producer, which is quite complex as it involves mining, okay, from the mine pit to ROM through to the crusher. It involves concentrating. This is a concentrator, which produces concentrate. And then from there, we transfer that to the smelter and onward to the refinery. Our final product is copper cathodes that we store in the warehouse, and from there we load the ship. Let's take a look at the list of equipment that we set up for this organization that we called diversified mining. So on the main menu here, the tree view here, I have a node called equipment. I open that node. Under diversified mining, I have three categories of equipment. So this is the structure I would like to set up for diversified mining. Under mine, which is the mining operation, I have further categories. I have a set of conveyor belts. I have a set of shovels. I have a set of trucks. And similarly, under plant, I also have certain things such as the stacker reclaimers. How do I create these so-called categories and equipment itself? With MineMarket, everywhere you go, you can do right click, and then it will present you with a list of choices. In this case, I would like to create a new category. I shall call it, okay, test. Under this test category, I can create a new item. In this case, I chose to create a new piece of equipment number 4. So let's have a look at one existing equipment. Let's say the overland conveyor, OC01. What kind of data do we capture? We capture a piece of description, the make, the model, the capacity, and other details for this equipment. And with the data that we have entered so far, it automatically display 2 months worth of either incident that has been captured or planned downtime into the future. So the default time window is 1 month prior and 1 month after. So I can just set my time window a bit larger. And over the course of a year, I have that many incidents that's been recorded for my overland conveyor number 1. All right. At this point, I'd like to just recap. How do I set up my equipment? Simply using the tree view here, right click, create a new category, and then subcategories, and then at the end, I create a new piece of equipment. From then on, I can start capturing the incident. How do I do that? I'll do right click, new incident. Right. For example, here, I'm going to create an incident. Let's pick one from here. Let's say this is the conveyor belt, but I have no stock going through that. So the code is 401, which is empty stockpile. When did it start? Well, let's put it somewhere, let's say 8 o'clock this morning. Okay, you can see this is manual data entry, yeah? And when does it end? The conveyor belt start picking up my product at about 8:30, right? Quite tedious, I must admit, because yeah, that's what manual data entry is like. So it will calculate that 30 minutes. I can put it with a comment, test, and then that is due to what kind of responsibility categories do we want to associate that with. It could be, let's say, operation. I'll leave it at that. Save it. So this is how I record an incident. We'll leave it at that. Next, I'd like to show you our time usage model in action. All right, and that is the concept. The act of making that, realizing it, is through this incident definition. So I go to my base data and select incident definition editor. If you can recall our time usage model, we have 4 categories, yeah? Planned maintenance, in which I have a number of so-called event or incidents. Each has a short description, a long description, and incident code. So I go through that. Second group is called unplanned maintenance. This is a breakdown or downtime, non-maintenance type downtime, which I have a number of incidents there. Again, how do I create new categories, new event using MineMarket default operating mode? Right click, new categories. Within that, I can create a new incident definition, and I can assign a code to it. Remember here, the incident code must be unique. Yeah, I can't, for example, create 101 again because 101 has been assigned to an incident earlier. All right. I hope this simple illustration explains quite well how easy it is to come up with your time usage model. Let me, at this point in time, do a refresh because I don't want to commit to this test. All right, so let's go back to our agenda, our roadmap. Where are we at? We have shown you how to create your list of instruments using a structured, well-defined hierarchy configuration. We have explained the concept of the time usage model, which you need to define and commit to before anything. From there, we created our list of instrument definition that that make use of that time usage model. And I have shown you a manual way to enter an incident through the incident recording function. What I like to do now is to use a simulated third-party system. In this case, I use Excel to simulate a system from external that can send data to MineMarket. All right. So with MineMarket running and with what I called iHub, I referred to this iHub before, running, I chose to run iHub server as in a dialog box, which I can see. And normally this is a Windows service. You won't be able to see that. With all this running, I can start my instrument system. Now, this is meant to be a third-party system that control the equipment. Okay, I can now select my equipment. List here. In this case, I select my overland conveyor and instrument code. Let's see what instrument code do we want to select here. Something that's nice and simple. Calibration. Let's say yesterday I started my calibration process, but I forgot to enter that. So I'll put that in now. Yesterday was 20th, and then I started, let's say 10 o'clock. Yeah, 10 o'clock. Now remember, this is not meant to be to type in. This is generated by some kind of external system, and then it took me about 60 minutes to finish. I put in a little comment. This is called monthly calibration. And then what does that refer? What kind of category of responsibility do we assign it to? Calibration, it got to be operations. And that during the time of 60 minutes, my operating capacity is reduced to 0. Sometimes the piece of equipment may still be working at 50% of the capacity. All right. So by saving that and do a Control S, saving it, then now it, as a system, just want me indicate that yes, the incident has been sent to MineMarket. All right. So if I go back to MineMarket now, I go to my overland conveyor one. I pay attention to the bottom here. If I do a refresh, there you go. That was event 101 that took place between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. yesterday. That's 1 hour worth, and all my detail from the external system has now been captured. So imagine if you have a communication between your equipment operating system that can send messages to MineMarket. There's very little for you to do in capturing the downtime event or incident. Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item, which is reporting. Now, with the demo database, I have a number of uh, standard equipment related billboards. Okay, let me just show you a couple. This is a billboard that you can get out of the box that show you the incident summary by group. I can now or incident summary by category. So electrical, if I now open up my window to cover a bit more, I have now a number of incidents for each of these category. If I go to this one here, and I can drill down. All right. I can also go by single equipment, and the default show me things like duration and mean time between failure, mean time to repair, that kind of thing. If I can just go by this billboard here, all right, the average use, the availability, mean time before failure. If it's applicable, then it's calculated mean time to repair. Or that KPI has been calculated for me. I also have a chart or a couple of charts that I can show you. For example, delay chart. I can zoom it into maybe by group, conveyors. All right. Now, with that, I have now concluded the demonstration of the equipment module functionality. Thank you all for attending. We'll see you next week.